Hi there. Thanks for joining me for our video series at 12 Tips for Christmas. Today, we're going to talk about the grip. So, all these 12 tips and all these 12 drills that we're going through are all things you should be working on all winter long to make it easier to play your best golf next year. The off season is not a time to take a break and let the clubs just collect dust all year. This is a time when real swing changes happen. This is the time when your best rounds and your most fun days on the golf course are going to take place. Okay, don't wait until you're out there on the golf course trying to shoot your best scores. They're happening right now. So get in the simulator, spend some time practicing your game, work on the putting, work on your short game, take some lessons, spend this cold time of year getting better for next year. Today is something we're going to talk about the grip. We're going to talk about the grip in a way that it gets really important to be sure that you've got your grip on lockdown because it influences so much of the rest of your swing. Okay. And what I'm going to talk to you today about is helping you find your personal neutral. Okay. Everyone's neutral grip is going to look a little bit different. We're going to talk about how to find yours so that when you deliver the club to the golf ball, it's delivered in the most natural, neutral way for you. Can we alter it from there to influence ball flight in a given direction? Absolutely. If you want to see the ball go more left or more right, and we accomplish that by going a little bit away from your personal neutral, that's fine. But we got to at least know where your personal neutral is. So, pretty simple. Here's all you're going to do get in your golf posture with any club. It could be a wedge, it can be a 9 iron, it can be a 7 iron. It doesn't really matter to me what you choose. But get in your golf posture. Then, staying in your posture, rest that club against your leg somewhere, lay it down on the ground, doesn't really matter. When you let your hands and arms just relax and hang as most naturally as they can, shake them out. When they hang like this, what you'll notice is your palms are facing somewhat towards your thighs a little bit. Pretty much everyone's going to be somewhere between here and here. Okay. No two people are exactly the same, but notice how your hands hang. Mine hang with my thumbs not quite pointing straight towards each other. So I've got I'm going to call it a 45 or a 50-degree angle. If this is 0 and this is 90, we're going to call it between 45 and 50. Don't worry about what the actual angle is. What you want to pay attention to is what does the back of your lead hand look like when you're in your rested position? Okay, that's important because that's going to be what we want it to look like when we put it on the club, roughly, right? So what you'll notice is if you're looking at that face-on view, um, you'll notice you can see from the face-on view, you can see a couple of my knuckles here. The back of my hand is pointing a little bit out that direction. It's not pointing straight at you, okay? And so from my perspective, I can see two knuckles right here. I can see pretty clearly. I can see those first two knuckles in my hand. I would have to go like this to be able to see anything more back here. And when I'm wearing a glove, I can see the logo of my glove pointing what I feel like is about to 10 o'clock on a clock. If you're at 12 o'clock, the camera straight on, the back of my hand's pointing about at 10 o'clock. Those are just some things I notice for me. So when I put my lead hand then on the club, I'm going to have that logo pointing at about the same place. I feel like that logo right there is pointing about at 10 o'clock. I can see two knuckles. Now, some of you whose hands hang like this, you might see three knuckles. I'm fine with that. If your hand hangs a little bit more this way, you might only see one knuckle or maybe even zero knuckles. I'm fine with that too. Okay. Your logo might look at 9 o'clock, right? That's a little bit what I'm going to call on the weak side or the open face side. But if that's how your hands go for it. Okay. Now here's where this helps you hit the ball better. Here's where this helps you with your consistency. This position that you established right here, that you found right here, is where your hands naturally want to return to when you swing the club. So you put yourself in motion, and that is where your hand is going to want to naturally return to. If we start deviating from that too much, if I take my lead hand and I go too far over this way, what's going to tend to happen is my hand is going to return to its neutral, natural position. And take a look what that did to the club face. I shut it right down. Well, that ball is going to go left. Okay, the opposite's also true. If we would start with our lead hand too far this way for ourselves, and then I go ahead and I return it in my natural neutral way, look how open that club face gets. Well, there's my big slice. Okay, there's a big push fade happening right there. So we're going to find our personal neutral by simply letting our lead arm just hang nice and natural. Make note of how the back of the hand looks and how many knuckles you see. Try to get that to match whenever you put it on the grip. Now, one other piece that I want to make sure I point out is look at where that club is running through my hands. Notice how my heel pad, not my thumb pad, my heel pad ends up right on top. Okay? The way we accomplish that is by making sure that the back end of the grip, this imaginary line straight down the back of the grip, some of you might even have a rib on your grip, that needs to run right through this part of your fingers right here. Okay, right through that second knuckle. Actually, it's going to run basically from the second knuckle of your index finger down into this little meaty pad at the base of your pinky finger. Is a pretty good place to look. Okay, pretty good place to see it. The back of the handle runs right down there through that part. If I can get that to happen, now all of a sudden that meaty part gets right there on top and we're in good shape. Our trail hand then, simply, if we get ourselves in this nice relaxed position again, there's my lead hand on it in a similar fashion to the way it was hanging whenever I wasn't holding the club. Now this hand, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this hand basically face the club. I might turn it ever so slightly this direction to let it face the club and come in. And the important part here is that this thumb on my lead hand, that's the left hand for you right-handed players, the lead hand is going to get covered by the lifeline of your trail hand. So you shouldn't be able to see too much, if any, of your thumb. If you're wearing a glove, if you can see the glove part of your thumb, or the thumb that's in a gloved hand, that means that you've got the club too much down here in the palm. You maybe rotated too far this way. We shouldn't be able to see that thumbnail. You also shouldn't be able to see your fingernails of your trail hand. Notice how my fingernails now are on top of the club. That's not a good place to have it. Those fingernails are going to end up on the opposite side, over there on the target side of the grip. The lifeline is going to cover that lead thumb. And one last check for yourself to see if these hands are in a good position. When I hold this club straight up and down, what you'll notice is I'm going to get nice and close here. Take a look at the second knuckle of each of my hands. That's these knuckles right here and these knuckles right here. When I have my hands on there in a really good way, notice how they form almost a straight line down the back of the shaft. Okay? If your hands look like this, we are in rough shape. Okay? We're not going to have very good control over it. So try to get those knuckles lined up down the back of the shaft. You notice I use an overlap grip. You can use a 10-finger grip. You can use an overlap grip. You can have an interlock grip. But how things look from here are going to be pretty much the same. There's a 10-finger grip. There's an overlap grip. And there's an interlock grip. You can't really tell much difference from that face-on view. So get the back of your left hand, back of your lead hand, in your own personal, natural, neutral space. When you put it onto the grip, the lead hand then covers the thumb. Check for yourself that your knuckles are forming roughly a straight line down the back of the shaft. It's going to help you hit better shots. Work on that all winter, and you'll be a better player in the spring. Hope to see you out here soon.